jungler. I think Kui's had some really interesting jungle paths, so keep your eye out, especially if he gets his hands on that Lilia. We'll probably see some cheeky invades over towards the Raptors, and certainly solidifying a counter pick for Cult is their main port of call when we come into this. They'll often leave him towards that very last rotation to make sure he's able to pick up something that will work well and certainly be a duelist for himself in that top lane.
Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, remember 11.2, don't forget that we are moving on with Viego banned away. He will not be able to be picked until after Chinese New Year. That is the 8th beginning there, and the 22nd is when we return. So we've got a long time to wait for that. Might see it in other regions first and get a bit of a feel of how he plays into certain matchups. But for now, we know that Olaf is still strong at 11.2, even with the changes coming across the board. So that jungler is still a priority bet.
Yeah, and I think we'll see priority here on either something like the AD carry role, which has been pretty much prioritized a lot by LGD, especially when Kramer was in the roster. However, we did say watch out for Kui, watch out for this Lilia, and already we're seeing it picked up. So what he likes to do in these early stages is he'll go for like bot side clear in towards just walking straight through mid lane and going to invade onto the enemy Raptors. They need to pair this though with a strong mid laner, something that has a lot of push. So we've seen when the Lilia comes out, the likes of a Galio or the likes of a Zoe for Uniboy as well, just to guarantee that early shove to work with this invade.
Also pairing up, if we talk about junglers, you know, you always want to pair up with an AD mid laner, get mixed damage, make it harder to itemize into those resistances. So I like you talk about the partnership with LGD, with Quay and Uniboy. Uniboy has been one of the stronger points of LGD, I might add. On the side of BLG though, let's realize that Talia is still very strong. The Samira there. And for BLG, they take the Kaiser away themselves, but they get the next strongest AD carry in rotation.
Yeah, and this is where we oftentimes kind of see teams go, right, we're dipping out on bot lane. We'll opt in towards Xayah, we'll opt in towards Jhin, we'll just go towards later scaling, because we're not going to win in the 2v2. You just have to be careful about what champions are giving over, because we have, or even the Aphelios as well has been picked up in that role, but certainly you need a support that can deal with this aggression in the bottom lane. And although we've seen them in the past go towards the likes of the Thresh and Aphelios, or even an Alistair to try and dissuade this engage, I need to see this locked in now, because otherwise they run the risk of this going way too late.
And getting the priorities that BLG want further on, right? So we've already got the Thresh and the Aphelios hovered over. They're like, nope, never mind. But you talk about BLG, the Alistar, the partnership in the bottom lane that works so well. The CC combo extended by a second with Airborne. Will they choose to go for it? Biubiu, an option here for the GP. Going up against the Renekton. Couple of matchups that are quite favorable, and the Gnar is going to be running into him once again.
It is favorable, but you still have to be very careful of this level 3 dives that can come in both off of the Lilia and the Renekton. And even if Uniboy wants to take something like Predator and potentially roam up towards that top side as well, like, you've got a lot of pressure from LGD towards the top side in a very definitive early game plan. So for Meteor, I want to see him on something like the Graves and certainly pathing towards that top side to make sure he can prevent any of these funky plays happening early from the LGD side.
That's optimism. Let's remember, you know, Graves ban, but also we see a Talia there, so we've got both of our junglers, both AP threats. But further to your point, I want to see what gets enabled through the mid lane, right? When we have Talia, we expect to see strong synergy, something like the Renekton that's already been taken away by LGD. So this is a really good move by LGD themselves, taking away the Yone, the AD threat that can pair up in the mid lane, and something that Zeka's played a lot in solo queue.
And certainly something that the Twisted Fate will struggle against as well. You still have the likes of the Lucian in that there, though, that they can go towards if they want to, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that banned away. The big question here for me, though, is what are we going to get for Kramer in that bottom lane? Because we're already seeing our major bans towards those high-rise AD carries, the Kai'Sa, the Xayah, Aphelios now taken off the board as well. So honestly, the only other AD card we've seen in that bottom lane is the Jhin, but Jhin does struggle quite a bit against this Samira, so I think already BLG have set themselves up really well for a strong bot lane duo.
And now you've got a lot of sustain. We know Samira goes the Immortal Shield bow first, but also remember when you have the Attract Repel, the Q for Rel gives quite a bit of health back, so you've got a 2v2 laning phase that can sustain and withstand. Also, with the Crash Down, you get knock up there too, so something that does also enable aiming is the Vayne in response. And Dagda, this is, you know, kind of throwing some cards into Kramer again. We're setting up LGD's bottom lane for success.
Well, they're going to have to make sure that it is a success. Now, the Alistair, at least in the Vayne, should do reasonably well into this Samira and the Rel. Alistair has got the ability to stop that Rel engagement, which prevents the Samira from being set up correctly. But you do have to be very careful with Kramer as to how you position in this lane. You've only got the 50 range advantage over the Samira, so it can be kind of difficult to make sure that you're both harassing while also staying safe. And if Samira does get in on top of you, that's a very dangerous moment for this Vayne.
And the condemn as well can be blocked here with the W from Samira. So we get the final comp locked in, and the Silas coming in last pick. That was a bit of a surprise, but the ability to match Uniboy, it's what we always talked about in 2020 with this Twisted Fate and Silas matchup. The ability to take that ultimate and match the proactiveness that LGD tried to draft.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going for here, and certainly something that can keep Uniboy in check in the early stages. I'm not certain though how well it's going to do, because as I'm looking at like this early game plan that you can go for from LGD, where we talked about already, Koi running through this mid lane, shoving that wave in, unlocking Twisted Fate before he even hits that level 6. I would imagine that that's going to be the game plan here from LGD, and then playing fully through this top side in the early stages of the game. So definitely Meteor on this Talia will need to make sure that he's both protecting the Silas and also this Gnar in the top lane, and not allowing this game to run away. And once you've got past that level 3, level 4, and Gnar's able to keep himself a little bit safer, that's when you can start to put your attention as Meteor towards this bottom side and enabling this Rel and Samira and this very potent killer bot lane.
I'm glad you brought up Meteor, because it does feel like the cards are in his hand. Further to your point, where you have a very snowball heavy composition from BLG, right? We're talking Samira, Silas, the Talia herself, and Gnar, how he can bully out a side lane, especially with how it's played in the LPL. Those first items can make a difference, and I think for BLG, if they get early gold, they get the momentum in this game, Dagda, and they can just run away with the lead, and they won't let, you know, Uniboy influence Kramer. They won't let Kramer become that 1v9er that we know all Vaynes to be as we enter the Rift. LGD and BLG, their first series here, and we need some expectations set. LGD 0-3 for BLG, a team at the moment that is trying to find their footing. They're 2-3. As they lost to LNG only this week. We'll see as we go into game. And Dagda, I want you to talk to me a little bit more about LGD's comp. You know, Uniboy feels like the center of attention here, but we do have AP jungler, AP mid, with level 6 as being quite impactful.
Certainly. I mean, look, Uniboy is going to be the pick/split push option in this composition, and it is very much trying to enable Kramer in this kind of post level 8, I'd say, where you're trying to get Uniboy to consistently get down towards this bottom side. In the beginning, LGD will, as we said, put a lot of focus top, but Kramer, as we get towards the late game, will become an absolute monster. However, the biggest thing for me here with Kramer is he's just been so messy in this bottom lane, where he's overextending in lane, he's giving free engages across. We saw it against Joe and Jackie Love. Like, I have not been convinced by Kramer's laning phase, and Vayne is certainly a champion, especially against Samira. You need to have a good laning phase. So my eyes are going to be on Kramer and Peace, not Chance now, Peace in this bottom lane, to see how they are going to face up.
Remember, Peace was from Joy Dream, you know, previously was set up behind Lumao on JDG. So Peace we haven't really seen much of in the LPL, and this is kind of his chance to show up with Kramer. A reason we've talked about LGD's bottom lane quite a lot, because on paper, there should be a strong bottom lane duo as they get whacked pretty hard here. Mark establishing himself in lane, starts with a crash down as well. Remember, extends airborne, and Peace takes the extra shot from aiming.
Now, I'm actually just having a quick look at where these junglers are pathing though. As you can see, Talia, as Meteor, has actually started on this top side, so he will be pathing down onto this bottom half of the map. It means that there is the opportunity, if Koi wants to go for something on this top side with no jungle intervention. So they need to be very careful here as Biubiu that you're trimming this wave and not allowing that third wave crash to happen, so Cult can set that up. And now, it looks like, as we can see the wave there, he's done a great job here so far.
Yeah, he's pushing the wave really nicely. It's all about establishing yourself in this 1v1. And Biubiu's done exactly that. Colt trying to walk into range, but now into mini Gnar. It's good timing. Can bully out with the boomerang throw. And I was going to say, Dagda, you know, level 1 for Renekton, if he can get really good waves set up. What we've seen in the past of LPL is that these Renektons can actually find optimistic time in these lanes. I won't go into it any further, of course. Out of my what do you call it?
Your wheelhouse?
That's out of my wheelhouse from there, right? You know, just listening to you three color casters in our team talk, because You know, that's really good trading in the top side you mentioned. So Biubiu now pushing in with that wave. And Colt sent back against the turret. Well, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Mark flashing in, attract and repel, gets the stun down, but I think that was over-ambitious. But back in with the rush, and aiming, spins to win. Gets that S tier, but he's only level 3, let's be quite realistic. And Kramer kind of startled to burn the heal.
And this is what I was talking about, is that Kramer has just not had a strong laning phase, and it's not easy to do, obviously, when Mark is flashing in aggressively on top of you, but still, this needs to be a point of contention for LGD. They cannot just let this bot lane run out of control, because we've seen what Aiming is capable of doing when he gets a lead, but certainly on a champion like Samira, where when you look at LGD, they haven't got too many of these like point and click CCs. Yes, you've got the Alistair, but you can get rid of like the Uniboy stun. You can outplay the likes of Renekton trying to get on top of you, so you do have to be very careful if this Samira does get ahead.
I mean, the beauty of it is, right, Bladewell gets rid of gold card. You know, you rely on Colt, you rely on Peace, and, you know, Quay as well, Swell Seed. I believe that is counted as a projectile, so I should stop that in its tracks as well. Meteor heading up towards the bottom side. Colt in a pretty even lane state. Meteor waiting in. Meganar into the stun, sent backwards, and Colt flashes away. Biubiu throws a rock at him. It misses, but Colt now forced out of lane. Now you have to burn the teleport to get back in this as Meteor's helping him shove.
But this is great for BLG, right? I mean, they've now got their top lane winning beautifully. Koi hasn't been able to get that early playoff that we talked about. On the bot side of the map, Aiming and Mark are doing wonders in just building up a lead for themselves there. So from BLG, they're ticking all the right boxes so far in this early game.
You know what the beauty is as well, Dag? The other matchup in the Silas versus the Twisted Fate, Uniboy versus Zeka. Zeka can steal away this TF ult and abuse that flash timing. So it does feel like BLG now, momentum on their side. They take that summoner, they push in the wave. Gives a good back timing for Biubiu as well.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where we're going to be looking at this level 6 and seeing, hey, can Uniboy get out of here? Can he try and, at this stage, get down towards his bottom side? Now, it looks like LGD are at least aware of this. You can see they're starting to teeter down with Koi, starting to move down with Colt, just getting a bit of control in this river so that you can unlock Uniboy.
I think Uniboy, again, another great performing member of LGD. Someone hyped up, coming over from the PCS. We all remember him at Worlds, was on AHQ, but, you know, came in to sub. Of course, so Uniboy was someone who was really hyped up, and Dagda, I think, is someone that, you know, we had some expectations of. I have to pause. Quay is actually up in this top side. There's a ward on this brush, though, so Biubiu's baiting this in. He's about to go Mega as well with the Gnar available. Just hops back, and Quay's wasting some time.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see the miscommunication there. Koi walked away.
And that's it. I mean, into Dominus. Biubiu now Mega. And Quay, there's no camp there for him. Meteor's just doing drag.
Look at the mid lane, though. You can see both Uniboy and Zeka are like, I know yous are trying to go top. I know you're trying to make something happen. And as he said, because they're not able to get this play off top side, well, Meteor's now got Dragon. He's gotten himself into a good spot. He's picking up these early advantages for BLG and letting this mid-game spike in composition roll into a good spot.
We talk about how the comps operate, right? Again, you know, that snowball heavy from Meteor needed to affect the game for BLG, needed to affect the status. Quay's just walked into Zeka. No lilting lullaby available. He just walks past him and can now threaten with the destiny available, the stolen destiny. So remember, this is why the matchup in the LPL was seen in 2020 so much. That ability to affect other lanes and be just as volatile as the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, you can see here, Koi's just trying to give the opportunity for Uniboy to back. Now shoves in that wave, so you've already missed kind of the level 6 opportunity for Uniboy to go and make these plays. Now, you can see they're trying desperately to move it up towards top side, get Colt an advantage, and this has kind of been the story of LGD, where they do put a lot of eggs into the Colt basket to begin with, but it does mean that on this bottom side, you're not really getting Kramer ahead, you're not really giving him a huge amount to work with, and this is where I think we're going to start to see issues, because if we get towards this mid game and Vayne isn't in a position to deal with Aiming, with how strong Zeka is, how strong Meteor is going to be as well in this Talia, you just don't have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with them.
Because let's remember, there's going to be a lot of duty from Peace to keep people away from Kramer, right? Colt as well act as that, you know, front line alongside this Alistair. Good trading in the top while meanwhile, but he's just trying to defend himself away. He pushes up the turret. Biubiu is still going to be getting closer towards his first turret and continue to the lane. But just back on what I was saying, Dagda, There is a lot of backline access from BLG. Nah will hop over Meteor with the shove. Zeka, you mentioned, if he's in a great snowballing position. Even aiming has gap closed. So it's a hard game to be a Vayne. It's one that has to be played meticulously and without too much of a deficit. Okay, flash forward. Dagda, I'm not sure what you make of this, but Biubiu's just been caught out by 4 people. First blood, over to Uniboy.
That was heartbreaking for Biubiu. He was trying so hard to get vision control for himself. You can see the game plan here, keep chipping away at this turret, but unfortunately Meteor hasn't actually got any vision for him in the opponent's jungle. He was trying to get some for himself there and gets caught out unexpectedly by both Peace who made it up there and Uniboy using that ultimate. So nice job from LGD to at least get 1 kill back in their favor.
And meanwhile, the only response here is apparently a fight. We turn around and Zeka's here. Meteor going in for the steal. Sends a couple of rocks, but the smite secured by Quay. But can he escape? Abscond Abduct matched with the flashes. Colt goes into Dominus himself. We're going to throw a couple more rocks as Dominus was actually stolen by Zeka. He's a very fake Renekton who gets gold carded. The crash down from Mark. Meanwhile, the Attract and Repel waiting on top of Colt, but it's used a bit early. He re-engages, still picks up the kills. Gold card flies in on the wing. And BLG getting a kill back in response and denying the Herald.
But I don't know why LGD are trying to contest here. You just left Kramer in that bot side. You know what Kramer's like. Kramer's Farmer Kramer. He just goes bot lane. He never leaves bot lane until he gets that first tower, and then he'll rotate top. So why are you trying to fight for this Rift Herald when BLG have already shoved in bot? They've got Mark who's moving. Aiming is able to move first as well. The best you're going to get in that situation is a 4 versus 5. Instead, though, you're giving the kills across towards BLG, and now BLG can go once again over towards that Rift.
You just give away to, you know, not getting the Herald anyway. Biubiu comes back up to the top lane. Turret plating goes down.
Yeah, I was looking at the items to see who had the Rift Herald, so I assumed it was still up. No one got the Rift Herald.
It was zoned away.
It is dead.
And Quay had to flash,
Yeah.
so, you know, the play kind of becomes moot, and BLG move into a 1k gold lead at 10 minutes into the game. We give that kill over to Zeka as well, who's already got the lost chapters, so Mythic should be coming rather early for this Silas in the mid lane, who has not an XP lead, but a CS lead, rather, of about 10 over Uniboy.
I'm looking at Quay's build, though. We are going to get that Moonstone Renewer, Lilia. These are one of the games where I'd like to see the Moonstaff to build to come online, because I think when you're so much about enabling Kramer with your composition, I think having him just getting a bunch of heals, the move speed, everything just works very well if you can get this up and running for Kramer. So curious to see if he will get it, but we haven't seen it thus far in the LPL. It's just been the Moonstone into the likes of the Zanyas and these kind of things.
Yeah, or at least the Ardent Sensor, right? When you have, you know, a Vayne carry, you can enable, you know, with one of those items. I think also, you know, the Zanyas we've seen because of the amount of skirmishes we have in the LPL and the priority that we, you know, also have on these AD carries. Zonyas has been a first or second pickup. Oftentimes we've seen it picked up actually instead of the Moonstone Mythic first. So you're right, it is going to be the Vandal Glass, which signifies the Mythics coming first this time around. But at the very least, taking stock of the game, I mentioned the 1k gold lead before. Meteor's doing Dragon by himself again, and even though he's on a ward, the priority in these lanes has been good for BLG, so he's heading towards the potential early soul, as it is going to be a mountain spawning in 5 minutes. All right, Biubiu.
Topside though, Biubiu.
I don't think they have enough damage. Pieces coming in to dive. Is he into Meganar? Well, now they do. And the dive successful, so LGD committing 4 members up to the top side again, while bottom side gets pushed in, at least trying to find something on the map.
And this is one of the criticisms I've had of Meteor, is that, like, yeah, he's getting these early dragons. It's going great. It will force LGD into a fight that they don't want to take. However, he's not really doing much else. Like, you have a bottom lane that you can play around. We haven't seen him actually go for a gank. You have a top lane that could desperately use some help with the amount of tension that LGD is there, but he's never there at the right point or at the right time. And this is where I really want to see Meteor step up. It's easy to just go for the cross-map plays, but you need to have more of an impact in these early stages.
Yeah, as a jungler, remember, 2019, he was the rookie of the split. I'd say rookie of the year was a more fitting title, a top 3 jungler. Meteor is someone who has that potential, but was gated by a lot of internal drama. You know, we talked about that, and that's not really a speculation anymore. A lot of it became public. He is this game, however, about 30 CS up, so the credit to him as he ganks towards the mid lane is Meteor's in a pretty good position. Misses the seismic shove onto Uniboy, who just walks it away. 30 CS over Quay is a great start. He's 2 levels over him as well. So around these neutrals, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That 80 extra damage coming from the smite and the early mythic that he's going to get to match something as cheap as the Moonstone.
Exactly. However, aiming, just able to piece out, it looks like.
Oh, speaking of, Peace comes in and forces the flash out of aiming as well. So that's a flash for flash. And Peace trying to be proactive. I think in this game, Peace has been one of the more impressive members of LGD. His movement around the map is what has kept LGD very much in with the kill score.
And one of the big things that actually Chance wasn't able to do when he was here was get himself out of that bot lane, actually go and make these proactive plays. So this is something that I honestly think Peace has probably picked up from Lumao, because Lumao is great at this as well, is understanding, okay, where are we putting our aggression on the map? How do I get there at the right time to set these up? But BLG, they now realize, hang on a second, Peace is backed. Kramer, you're on your own.
Weaver's wall was there, waiting for the seismic shove rather. Kramer burns that flash, still has the heal if necessary, and that's a play from BLG. They want to push in the rest of the turret as plating's already dropped down, but to give first turret blood over to aiming, 3 versus 2, there is no response on the map, so Quay is coming to the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's great timing for BLG to go for this, although...
Okay, well, Peace hit a minion, and there's the engage. Next minion wave coming in. Let's try that one more time.
Yeah, I still like the timing here from BLG. As you said, there's no like objectives on the map that they really need to fight for, but also the Destiny was on cooldown for the last play. It is not now, but Zeka has managed to steal it away, so we could get multiple members here on the bottom side.
Mark, can he dive this crash down? Remember, not untargetable, so still takes the turret aggro. Seismic shove there once again, and they back away. First turret blood shared across these 3 members of BLG. Puts them into about a 2k gold lead and extends the bottom lane about a minute 45 before Dragon. So, Dagda, I want to talk a little bit more about lane placement here, especially when we have a Silas who's been stealing away these Destinies. He has Leandries. We actually have first mythics across the board, bar support for BLG. And Biubiu now with Divine Thunder. I'm interested to see if he moves towards the bottom lane ahead of this Dragon rather than sit in the side away from the TP.
Yeah, I think the way we're going to have this work is a 1-4 coming in for BLG with Zeka on this bottom side, and certainly then they can look towards these next dragons. However, the problem for LGD is they're just not at a point to fight. Like, they really need to finish off like the Kraken Slayer or Gwynsu's Rage Blade for Kramer before they're really in a position to go for it. Now, they have finished the Kraken Slayer, but you've got the Serrated Dirk on the opposite side for aiming, which just works so damn well with this Samira kit and getting so much extra damage off in these team fights as well. So from LGD's side, unless you can use Uniboy's Destiny to make a pick before this dragon starts, that you don't really have an opportunity to fight. You're just not as strong as BLG.
Because if you walk in without the Gore Drinker, especially on Renekton, then you're going to be feeling pretty harsh. And I just want to point out, we talked about 11.2 at the start of show, and Gore Drinker doesn't receive any nerfs. There's actually Biubiu's going to get ganked on the flash. Gold card comes in as well. Uniboy making magic happen. You talked about Uniboy's experience. They find a pick before the dragon.
And that's perfect timing, because you get Cult the opportunity now to pick up a Gore Drinker. They both have the TP on Uniboy and Cult, so they can still threaten this dragon with 20 seconds until Biubiu's up.
Teleport used by Uniboy, walks straight to the mid lane. They're clearing out, getting priority once again. Seismic Shove dodged away from, and there's part of the engage as Quay just wants that sleep. But Zeka's zoning off the side. Gold card here from Uniboy, who is a level down against his counterpart and 30 CS. And that first item, Leandri, is going to be pretty big on Zeka. BLG still posturing for a bit of aggro here as Uniboy's caught out. Seismic Shove misses again. And LGD posturing around this mid lane, waiting for their chance. As Biubiu comes in.
Oh, problem. That's the problem. Biubiu's back now. So now LGD are still in the same position they were in before they made that play top. BLG realized this. They turned towards Dragon. And I am not expecting clean fights in this series. No. Both these teams struggle when it comes towards team fights. So I like that LGD are just kind of gone, all right, we're backing away from this. But they needed to be more proactive. They needed to jump on towards that Dragon the second they had that 4 versus 5.
Especially since both seismic shoves from Meteor has stopped. And from there, it's like, well, Zeka's the engage. You know, he has a stopwatch, so granted that's a bit of respect paid. But for BLG, another net win, Dagda. We've got a Mountain Soul coming up. We've got a team that, you know, any team really likes Mountain Soul. Let's be quite realistic. It is you know, a hair's breadth away from getting a very early Elder on the board. And when we already talked about the snowball potential, you know, the ability for Meteor to get this early game rolling, the earlier the better. And BLG, a team that can really threaten at this point and utilize their sole point coming up in 4 minutes 20.
And crucially, it's just before you hit a lot of these item spikes on LGD side. Like, Kramer won't be able to finish off his second item before he ends up going towards his fight. You know, it's the same when you look towards the likes of Koi, who, although may just about complete his Zhonya's Hourglass, still not going to have some of these like Steric's Gauge coming in for the Renekton. Like, these are big ticket items that you really want to finish before a fight like this kicks off. But just with the way that this game has gone and not having control to get the gold in your favor means that they are lagging behind BLG. Whereas, like, Aiming, he should have his collector done. When you look at Zeka, he's very much on his way towards a second item as well. So these are much better positions for BLG to be in.
I also want to point out that, you know, for Uniboy and Kramer, while they are a little bit further behind, at least they're tracking at this point. We've got a rapid fire cannon second out of Uniboy as well. You can see the priority, right? It's not the Lich Bane, it's not the Zhonya's Hourglass. Instead, it's let me get that ranged gold card and set up the engage so that the rest of LGD can go in.
Yeah, but that's the problem, is you're kind of now using this Twisted Fate as a front-to-back team fighter. So they've kind of just realized, all right, we've screwed the pooch on this one. We're not able to actually try and fight for any of these, or at least play out through these side lanes. Now we have to fight front-to-back, which is where BLG's composition just works better.
At the very least, I want to see more in action, because when we get towards that second item on Kramer, his ability to play these team fights is going to be crucial. He'll have a Moonstone Renewal, he'll have a frontline of Renekton, we'll have that extra range on Uniboy, but also note that Peace still hasn't finished his Mythic, so hopefully that gets finished as Biubiu actually gets a turret while I'm talking, and BLG are going to aim for the mid lane. Meanwhile, Kramer left by himself, the Weaver's Wall comes through to zone him away. They don't do this fast enough, and with the minion wave getting clear, that Weaver's Wall just only delays LGD moving back.
Yeah, not quite able to get us, and now maybe LGD have an opportunity to actually shove some of these lanes out. You've got 2 minutes now until this dragon is up, so ideally LGD in the next 30 to 40 seconds will be wanting to back, make sure they're pushing those waves back in, because when you've got a composition that relies so heavily on globals, those earlier resets give you the opportunity to push the waves in and not let, like, Uniboy get pressure onto a side turret so that you've got to deal with it. It's much more about preventing LGD from playing their game plan.
It's kind of been the game so far, as well BLG have been willing to give up kills or, you know, parts of the map because they know they're going to benefit out more. They're still 1,500 gold up at 21 minutes, and this is a slower game. It's funny because BLG's early game is something we've talked about in multiple segments so far, where BLG have been one of the most early game, you know, orientated teams, which was a massive change around, considering that BLG in 2019, 2020, we called them slow, methodical, a smart, you know, one of the smarter teams, alongside JDG at times. Yeah. But BLG have been bloodthirsty as hell.
Honestly, Sterix, I'm just waiting to see if BLG have a good engage, because then you got to marry me. So that's what I'm looking for in this next engage and these next dragon fights, you know, because LGD, they got to fight. They're not able to just let this zip by. They can't just wait and let BLG go. Oh yeah, you have Mountain Dragon, then Elder, then Baron, and yeah, you guys take the game. You deserve this. No, they're in this to win it. They need to fight.
I love how passionate you are about getting married to me. I mean, honestly, I'd be a pretty crap husband. Let's be honest. Yeah, let's be quite honest.
You've introduced me to the world of Vegemite. I want to see what else you.
That's what. Okay. You know, you're talking about Vegemite. Now I'm more interested in this marriage for sure. If anyone hasn't tried Vegemite, get amongst it. Get it in you. This is the best thing since sliced bread. And on sliced bread, by the way, what you do is, because we're in a bit of a lull. You know, we've got 30 seconds till Dragon. Let me tell you one thing, as Uniboy actually ults down. Maybe not. There's a rapid fire cannon. I'll tell you more about Vegemite a little bit later. Teleport's coming in, and BLG want to make sure that Biubiu doesn't die before this objective. The Weaver's Wall for Meteor to get into place. Chasing down Uniboy, who uses the Ghost with the Unsealed Spellbook, and LGD have priority in the river, but look at where Kramer is. He's pushing into mid-wave. He's not here yet. The Lilting Lullaby comes through, however, as the flash burned as well, aiming in a bad position. Dove on by Colt, gets back to his team though, and BLG now in a choke. Forward they go with the Abscond Abduct, and Colt tanky enough for now, but Biubiu into the wall. Quay then dodges, because he doesn't get the stun, and Kramer now having joined the fight means it's a net win for LGD. Dragon resets at BLG with a numbers disadvantage.
Oh, God. Yeah, I knew we were going to get decent engagements, but I wasn't quite expecting the Fiesta that's on our screen. Here comes the TP, though. Ding, ding, ding. It's round two.
Colt wants to come in even without that ultimate. Low health bars from BLG means Soul, not the option. And it's given over to LGD. And I'll tell you what, Quay started that one off, and there's some botched engages on both sides of the end.
You get LGD who dive in onto Amy, and I'm like, right, this fight's over. BLG haven't even copped that their AD carry's about to die as they go and clear that bot wave. But instead, Amy manages to escape, and then Biubiu misses the narrative. It's just every bit of that engagement was just atrocious.
Dagda, you know what I'm noticing? Hey, this goes out for chat. If you watched BLG in their last series versus LNG, Biubiu died 14 times in a 3-game series. Every game, he pretty much started with the 0-4 start. And that's what he's doing here, is he dies the 4th time in this fight, Dagda.
Yeah. Now, to give due to the start of this fight, Mark did a really good job of stopping the full engage on towards Amy. But here, as you can see, Biubiu doesn't actually get the CC into the wall. And at this stage, everything's been blown. Like, Kramer's just able to free hit, do whatever he wants, because literally there is no CC left on the team to actually put him in his place. So now, Dragon goes the way of LGD. We're now looking at Kramer finished his 2nd item, working up towards that Infinity Edge, and suddenly this becomes a very different game. Kramer is actually in a position where he can carry. Amy needs to be careful that he's not getting caught out at the start of these fights, because a lot of these fights will come down to these two AD.
Do you know what I just saw, Dagda? Just to clarify, Biubiu actually did get the ult for anyone wondering, but the buffering of W can be applied before you get CC'd. So if you press W and then you get CC'd, you do it anyway. So I believe he got hit in the wall, then got stunned afterwards. Feel free if anyone wants to go back and double check me on that, but that's what I believe happened from watching the replay there. Something that we've seen from Lilia quite a lot. You can buffer the CC, pressing the watch out eep just before you get locked down. So Quay with a nice little trick there, as you know, LGD getting priority in front of the Baron. Now, I don't expect this to be taken, but just waiting for BLG to walk into their vision line, get that pick with the Twisted Fate ult, now back up again.
Yeah, but look at Biubiu. He's reading this. He's already roamed up from this bot side. Has Mega Gnar, but as LGD, once you see that Gnar bar go down, cool. Maybe you look and try and take a fight for yourself, because that mini Gnar, nowhere near as scary as the Mega.
East hasn't been spotted out, Dagda. This is the flank I want to talk about, because Zeka's here. Destiny being used. We're going to fight, ladies and gentlemen, LPL style, as Boomerang slows them down. Destiny still used Gold Card onto the frontline rel, and Mark just waiting to jump down. When that crash comes through, BLG are fine, because they've just brought a lot of ultimates. Kramer doesn't have ult anymore.
Yeah, however, Biubiu, he is starting to build up that bar.
Oh, little thing not going to be used. Cold against the wall. They're like, get me out of here. Quay goes golden piece for the re-engage. Zeka steals the unbreakable will as LGD getting burnt down, and we are doing our LPL ARAM again.
Oh, God, this is exactly what I expected coming into this game. However, LGD are winning this. They have the Moonstone. So while all this is going on, they're healing up, and BLG are just being whittled down.
But you know, the problem is we had those 2 ultimates that we used for the flank for Kramer to get the engage, but Peace can change that. 2-man headbutt pulverized into the back line, though. You have to watch what's going on because Samira's down. And that's the wombo for BLG. Uniboy kites back, gets autoed to death. And now it's all up to Zeka. The Silas carrying the damn fight alongside Meteor. Biubiu doing the same, and this is what happens when Zeka gets a lead on this Silas. Takes over the game, and what looked great for LGD turns as a backfire.
And Zeka has been so good on these melee assassins mid, and the Silas just fits straight into that wheelhouse. Great to see him performing once again, but my God, these are not clean fights. However, BLG have turned over towards this Baron. TP coming in from Zeka. Koi, the only one left alive. He would need a miracle to steal this objective.
We've got to give credit as well. Remember that started from Mark II, but we're going to go to the Baron. Ladies and gentlemen, Biubiu's pretty low. Doesn't want to die to this one as Meteor waiting for the smite. And off the back of that fight, it will be secured. No contest. Quay walks away. And it is going to be Baron for the side of BLG and a 4K gold lead.
But I love the way we set up this fight. We said, hey, you know what? This is going to come down to the 280 carries. You got to keep your eyes on them. And both teams realized this as everyone just dove onto simultaneous 80 carries and then forgot to protect their own one. Because both 80 carries just instantly dead at the start of this fight. And then they go, oh God, who's got enough consistent damage to carry this through? And when you've got both Meteor and you've also got the Silas here, who are churning out that consistent damage versus just really the Lily on the opposite side, you're going to be able to whittle this one through as BLG. So, BLG, they've now got Baron. Their Dragon Soul is on the cards, and LGD, they're nowhere near in position to go for this. I mean, Peace is still in the base.
Zeka's just soloing out. Lilting Lullaby was stolen by Zeka. He flashes and takes a solo kill, and the rest of LGD can't do a thing. As they get the Mountain Soul, they send the Weaver's Wall down, forces the flash out of Quay. And Mark ready again for another great Magnet Storm. We saw in that last fight, he pulled a 4-man ulti of LGD and pretty much brought the fight for BLG. He wants to do it again as Biubiu has to run out with the Mega Gnar. Kramer comes in with the final hour against the wall. Colt will get stunned down, and this is the power of the Kraken Slayer, but Biubiu has Asterix Gauge. And while turrets are going down to the bottom lane, BLG group up to mid. Again, Peace for the re-engage with the headbutt pulverized. Colt flashes forward as well. But again, Mark with the Magnet Storm. He crashes down with his Ferromancy, and he's just absorbed the pressure once more. The second time that he comes through is aiming all on top of Kramer. No damage to be done, and BLG have pretty much solidified this game.
Hey, it ain't clean, but it's a W, as they will be able to push down here. Baron in hand, Elder Soul, or even Mountain Soul on the cards as well. There's just no stopping here for BLG.
The Baron buff, look at that cannon behind them. Next wave, about 5 seconds inbound. Pieces up in 8. We'll see if LGD can hold off with the defense. Uniboy doesn't really have the wave clear here, but Kramer walking forward. 5 versus 3 for now. 13 seconds otherwise. The Gnar ulti into the wall doesn't connect here from Biubiu, but one Nexus turret down, the next incoming. The minions pushing down is onto Uniboy. The re-engage is there. Zeka gets head-butted away, delaying for time, and LGD will do it. BLG don't want to commit now that all 5 members are up. They're backing away.
Yeah, but LGD do have first move onto the map now, but the problem is there's just no objectives up for them to try and take. Everyone will back away from BLG, and the base for LGD is left in shambles.
No ward put in for the cheeky TP play to end the game, but at the very least, bare Nexus. We've got an open inhibitor, of course, through the mid lane. Pressure are mounting, and, you know, we're actually just looking at Biubiu holding off Kramer and Colt.
Yeah, and I honestly thought they'd be able to get through Biubiu a lot faster. When you've got the Silver Bolt, you've got the Kraken Slayer, this is where I expected Biubiu to just melt, but honestly, he's pretty damn tanky at this stage, and unfortunately here, not able to finish off Meteor. Mark has been so on point with these, with the magnetism, making sure that nobody's able to get in on top of this backline, and just buying space for Meteor and Aiming and all the squishy members of BLG.
And the greatest thing is he's attached to Zeka. When you have that attract repel and you use the shattering strike, you give more sustain. So Zeka just doesn't die anymore. And it's so hard to get through this Silas that you need a team to find him in isolation. You need that pick. And even then, he has the Zonyas. He'll soon have the Rabadons as Biubiu getting caught out again. They want to make it death number 5, but Uniboy's run away from. And that was LGD's last play before BLG start pressuring again.
And I mean, look, you can see really with the build from Uniboy here that if you don't have Kramer in position to make these plays happen, there's just nothing happening. You've gone the rapid fire cannon, you've gone the whatever it is, purifier. It's just the Grievous Wounds build. It's just not any damage here for the Twisted Fate. And Cult has fallen off at this point as well. So realistically, if Kramer dies or does not have a good fight, BLG just overrun them.
Maybe it purifies the sinners. The Hextech Putrefy. It's a weird name tag there. I get you, but
yeah,
you know, I don't know who it's purifying this game. At the very least, maybe just any hope that LGD have. Biubiu walking forward. He's tanky enough as a mini Gnar. And Zeka, he's the one to watch as Biubiu goes in once again. The engage doesn't really work out. Headbutt pulverized there once more. Zeka takes the Unbreakable Will. And as they push the wave, another inhibitor is going to drop down. LGD have no Nexus turrets to fight in front of, so it's now or never. Abscond Abduct baited in front of our audience, and BLG taking it nice and slow.
Yeah, I mean, they can just chip away at this. there's no real worry for BLG. They've got creeps that are pouring in here. 50 seconds until Baron as well. I think they're going to take this real slow. Look for the Baron, look for that Elder, and then look to finish it out.
Yeah, 32 minutes. Again, you know, we expect BLG to be a little bit more bloody, but, you know, this time around, the game always felt like it was pretty much in their favor bar a play. Found Biubiu once again. This is a Destiny being thrown in to join up, but Peace has just absorbed the damage with the Unbreakable Will. He's stunned down. Gold card used. That's the 3-man Nara ulti. And there goes Peace. We already knew this one was over, folks. Is over the wall once again. Mark's been playing this rel exceptionally well, as he'll still go down, but LGD need more than that. They need Zeka, who goes golden, and then in comes the Samira, who cleanses. Now Kramer needs to get that final hour going, but Zeka's still alive. This is the problem, Dagda. Absconded Duck was an inch too far. But BLG can't end again. They're going to kite back and maybe think about Baron a second time.
That condemn from Kramer, though, may have just saved this game for LGD, where they could have closed out as BLG. He gets this gorgeous condemn onto aiming, pops him in against the wall, shuts down the Inferno trigger. But even with all that, BLG are still going to get this Baron. They are still going to be able to turn over towards the Elder. And it really does feel that even though that was a great condemn, LGD are still condemned to lose this game.
Again, what do you do when the enemy mid laner is 8-0-4 and has 4 items at 33 minutes? As we'll look again, it was Peace who just tries to find a almost Mega Gnar.
Yeah, that was the problem here for me when I looked at this initially. Was just like, that Biubiu is about to go Mega Gnar. You don't want to headbutt him into your team to give him the freedom to get this big Mega Gnar. And you see it there, a 3-man knockup. Now, the big issue for LGD is this actually could have potentially been a good fight for them. But Kramer was zoned out the entire fight, had to walk all the way around that jungle. And you see the condemn here where he's able to get damage off, but this could be the last fight.
All right, Weaver's Wall into the Elder. Can Quay take it away? Into the pit, they've got it. I don't know how LGD got there. It must have been reset timing. But now BLG's ending the game, and that was anticlimactic. What the hell was that? Why the hell were we watching the dragon?
Oh,
who gives a shit? Who cares? The game's ending.
Oh, this game is even worse than I expected. Oh.